BBC Audiobooks presents Doctor Who, What Still Remains by Adam Christopher, read by Sophie Aldred. In a corner of a dimly lit corridor, a battered blue police box materialised. Moments later, the door opened, and a young woman took a careful step out. She was of medium height and athletic, her long brown blonde hair tied back in a ponytail, and she wore a black zip-up jacket covered with metal badges and larger fabric patches. Her practical black leggings were tucked into high rubber-soled boots, the toes of which she now kicked experimentally at the floor before letting out a long, deep breath. "We're all right, Professor," Ace called. She rolled her sore neck. "What was that, anyway? I thought the TARDIS was going to shake itself to pieces." There was no answer from within. Ace waited, glad that the roller coaster ride of the last few minutes was over. The TARDIS spinning madly out of control was not something she wanted to experience again. The Doctor emerged, clutching his red-handled umbrella tightly against the lapel of his dark brown jacket. He seemed to be wearing the latest in golfing fashions of the early 1920s, two-tone shoes, baggy check trousers, and a knitted jumper covered in rows of red question marks. The whole ensemble was topped off with a paisley-banded Panama hat. As he stepped out of the TARDIS, his expression seemed particularly grim. "Professor?" she prompted him. "I don't know," he said quietly. "But whatever it was that drew the TARDIS here is also preventing us from leaving. We appear to be stuck." Ace blinked. "Stuck? How is that even possible?" The Doctor pursed his lips. "The TARDIS is not completely invulnerable to outside influence." "Where are we anyway? And when are we?" "I'm afraid I can't answer those questions either. The interface has completely jammed the console." Ace looked around. The TARDIS had landed at the end of a long, bland corridor lined with greyish-white panels. The lighting was dim, giving the whole place a gloomy feel. The Doctor reached into a jacket pocket and pulled out a torch. He'd shone the beam directly into his own face, but the light was very weak. "Low battery?" asked Ace. "Hardly." He handed her the torch and began rifling through his pockets again, eventually extracting a small black device Ace recognised immediately. "Radiation detector?" "It's a detector of many things." He made an adjustment on the side of the device, then held it out in front of himself like a pistol. Immediately it began to crackle, a myriad of tiny yellow lights flashing in sequence. Ace frowned. "Not sure I like the sound of that." "No," muttered the Doctor. "There is a very high level of chronoactivity." "What's that when it's at home?" "Time decay." "Is that why the TARDIS can't dematerialise?" "It's not the cause, no," said the Doctor, "but a symptom, perhaps." "Is it safe?" "For a short while, yes, but we shouldn't linger." "Then let's get a shift on and find out what's keeping the TARDIS here." As Ace spoke, the corridor brightened suddenly. She lifted the torch and glanced down into the beam, then jerked her head away, momentarily blinded. "Interesting," said the Doctor. He lifted the detector again. This time the distinctive crackling was barely audible. "Interference gone?" asked Ace. She nodded to the
Sample complete. Ready to continue?